All right, moving on to another franchise. Doing two in one night because I'm a fucking lunatic, and it's 1:50 in the morning. Jesus Christ. Okay. What movie am I doing? Ginger Snaps. Ginger Snaps. So we're gonna do the Ginger Snaps trilogy. Oops. If that's what you want to call it. So yeah, Ginger Snaps, a franchise, and I bought all three of these to review them one day because I'm not a big fan of this franchise. Never have been. I watched them all once each, and I thought they were fine. And having gone back and rewatched them again, I can say the same thing. Like, I don't really have an affinity for these films. The first one's definitely the best one, but even this one, I'm just kind of whatever about. I think it's like, I think the main characters, you know, of obviously Ginger and Bridget, I like them. I think that they're very memorable characters. So I think that they're kind of iconic to the horror genre. That being said, I'm not really a big fan of anything they're in together. These characters. I like the idea behind it. I like the idea of the sisters who are, you know, together forever, and they're death obsessed, and they're kind of the outcasts, and their families like hunky dory, but they're like weirdo black sheeps of the family. And I like the idea behind all of it, and I do like the execution of some of it. But overall, there's just, and I might honestly, I think I'd blame a couple things. Number one, I think that the writing could be stronger, but number two, there's just a cheapness to all of these. There's just, the films don't look very good. They feel very low budget, and not in a good way. Like, sometimes that can play to the strength of a film, or like it almost adds to the charm of it. Like, oh, it's low budget, but they still pulled it off. And I know there's a lot of people who are shaking their head right now and are big fans of this movie. This movie, I don't know how people feel about the sequels, honestly, like at all. But I know there's people who love this first movie, and I've been asked to do this franchise, or at least this first movie, a ton of times. And so I think it'll be heartbreaking for people to know that I'm not much of a fan of these three movies. They're like, I don't know, man. They're fine. We'll get into the second and the third one. I think the ending of the second one is actually pretty cool. But overall, the first one is the best of them. So anyways, all right, so we got this opening where this dog is torn apart, and this lady like goes and alerts her neighbors like anyone's gonna give a shit. Like, kids kind of just laugh at her, but she like overly overreacts. Now granted, if my dog, I don't have one, but if I did, you know, I love animals, and I have loved the animals I have had in the past. Unfortunately, they have died. I don't think I'd run outside and drop to my knees and scream to everyone in the neighborhood they killed my dog. You know, it got mine too, because that's kind of funny, because it really doesn't matter at all. Like, everyone just kind of laughs at her. But this is kind of an epidemic that's happening in the town, because there's a werewolf loose. So yeah, these chicks are death obsessed, and they take these pictures of themselves in different poses of having died, which they show in school in some art project. I don't know what the project was, but that's what they do for the school. I think it's great. I love that. That's definitely something my friends and I would do, you know. And then the guy's like, I want you in the guidance counselor office, which is pretty funny, which is definitely what would happen. And it's very crazy to think that the actress Emily Perkins, who plays Bridget in this, is actually the older of the two. Catherine Isabel, who plays Ginger, is only 19 years old in this movie. She's supposed to be playing 16, and the older sister, and Emily Perkins, Bridget, she is actually 23 years old, and she plays 15 in this movie, and she looks about 15 in this movie. And I just found that very, very wild when I looked it up. I was expecting her to be the younger of the two for sure. So when I saw Isabel was 19, I was like, oh, that means Emily's probably gotta be 17 or something, which would make sense for how young she looks. And nope, she's fucking, and she's older than me now, which is, both of them are, I think. I think Catherine Isabel's a year older than me. Yeah. And she was born in 81. I was born in 82. And Emily was born in 77, which is just crazy. So yeah, she's 23 years old in this. Anyway, so they're out there in the field smoking cigarettes. They're told they have to go play field hockey. Is that what this shit is? Anyway, this is a Canadian movie. This Canadian thing, I guess that's what they play out there. Field hockey. It's like if they can't be playing real hockey, they got to be playing fucking soccer hockey. Sake, the drink, the Japanese fucking drink. Anyway, but they're out there playing, and then some girl shoves down Bridget into a dead, mutilated dog that they've been out there, 50 kids all running around, been in that field for a fucking hour, and not one of them noticed that there was a giant Rottweiler mutilated dog just sitting right there. And when she went to push her down, she didn't notice that there was a dead dog there. This is so unbelievably idiotic. It's fucking maddening to me. Like, when I saw it, I was like, did I miss something here? And I rewound it, and I was just like, how did no one see that dog? How did no one see that dog? It's not like there was a tree there, and then she like pushed her, and she fell behind the tree, and she landed on the dog or something. It's literally right out in the middle of the open field where they were all just sitting there and playing for a while, and not one of them noticed that dog out there. Not one of them. Bull fucking shit. This kind of stuff is just so idiotic to me. Like, no one on the set would be like, why wouldn't anybody see this dog? This dog would have been brought to people's attentions before. Because they all act like, oh my god, there's another one. The killer strikes again or whatever. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way no one saw this dog. It's so stupid. I don't get that kind of stuff in movies. I really don't understand it. I don't understand how that kind of stuff happens. Like, how are the writers writing that kind of stuff? And then she gets pushed down into a dead dog that no one noticed in an open field. Like, how do you seriously write that down? And how do you get a bunch of actors to get around and look at that and go, why didn't we notice this dog? Why didn't anyone make a mention of this dog before? Huh? There's no chance. Zero chance. Zero. Not even a 0.001%. Zero chance. You walk into a field and there's a fucking big dead dog in the field, you're going to notice it. It's going to be one of the first things you notice. You're going to be like, what's that? It's not like it's over the fucking horizon. It's not like some huge field that goes on, stretches for days. Anyways, I'm done with it. I just thought it was so fucking stupid. I could not help but point it out. Then Ginger gets really like jealous of the janitor supposedly having a crush on Bridget, which he so obviously doesn't. But Bridget is very protective over her sister, almost creepily so. And she's like, he was looking down your shirt. The girl's wearing a t-shirt like mine, like pressed against her fucking neck. Like look at this. Can you look down this thing? Is there any way to look down this fucking thing? No. Not unless I literally pull it open. So when she's like, she's looking down your shirt, it's like, that's impossible. That's impossible. They could have at least had her have a shirt on that was look downable. So that, I don't know why that annoyed me. But it did. It did. Anyways. And I like that she refers to her period as the curse. You know, they're both late on their menstrual cycle by about 3 years. She says they're both late on their periods by 3 years, which makes no sense. The mom straight out says, you're both late 3 years. No. Bridget's late 3 years. And Ginger would be late 4 years. Or if you're counting it from whatever age you're counting it from, it would be a year different. They're a year apart. So that was a really weird line, too. It's like, you guys are both 3 years. No, they're not. Your daughters are different ages. That would make sense if they were twins, but they're not. They specifically say in the movie she's 15 and she's 16. So what the fuck? Stay consistent. Are they twins or are they not? They're not, obviously. So that makes no sense. Anyways, and how do you know they're late? Because the average date is 12. You're just going off that. A lot of girls start late. Look at Carrie. She was like 17 when she fucking, had her period for the very first time. It happens. It happens. There's girls that don't start, When I was in high school, my high school sweetheart, we were together for almost 2 years. She had a period twice in both those years. And her period had started way, way before that. But she was just very thin. And she just had very irregular periods. And it was insanely rare. So the whole, she could have been pregnant any week. We never knew. We never knew. And we never used protection. Never once. Never one time did we. So it's funny to think back about that. I didn't really have any concerns either because I was a dumb kid getting laid all the time. We were banging all the time. And she never had her period. So when she would have it, it would be like, what is this? What is going on? What's this? What's this? All right. We'll save the fucking singing for later. Oh, my back is killing me, man. Oh, yeah. I was trying. For some reason, I was in my head thinking about what song I was just singing. And for some reason, I was like, Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, that's not fucking Beauty and the Beast. And I was trying to sit here. That's why I was pausing. So I'm like, why am I fucking blanking? Nightmare Before Christmas. Come on, man. Jack and Christmas Town. How the fuck did I not think of it? But for some reason, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking Beauty and the Beast. I don't know what song I was thinking. I thought that was. Yeah. I have no idea. I have no fucking idea. Anyways, moving on. And I like how when they're getting attacked by the werewolf and they run away from it, the drug dealer van is the one that smashes into the werewolf and it kills it. And I like that the lore is messed around with here. I like that the lore in this is different, that they change it up and it's really its own thing, honestly. And the reason that he attacks her is because she's on her period and he attracts by the blood, or at least that's what I can gather from it. And I also wrote a script. I wrote a werewolf script years ago, and I actually likened a woman's period to the cycle of the werewolf. It comes once a month, and I feel like that's kind of what's happening here as well. That's not it. Mine's much more on the nose about it than this movie, but this is kind of like a coming of age, she refers to her period as the curse in the movie, and it comes once a month and, changes her. So that's definitely what they're going for here. But as I said, and I did not rip that off from this at all when I wrote it, maybe subconsciously, but not on purpose. But I'm much more obvious about it than this movie is. So she gets attacked. She's healing quickly. Hair's growing onto her wounds. The mom is really awkward by making a strawberry cheesecake that has the strawberry syrup and whatnot running down the sides of the cake to celebrate her period. It's really? Strawberry cheesecake? Little talking about on the nose. Jesus Christ. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, the mom and the dad, they're just so normal, and these guys are just so not, and it makes you wonder how. And then the sis is unrecognizable, and of course she's lusting for sex and murder now that she's a werewolf, and you can also contract the werewolf virus through unprotected sex. So if you have sex with a werewolf, even when she's not a werewolf, although in this movie it doesn't seem like you're ever not a werewolf. Once you change, it seems that you're a werewolf forever, from what I can tell in this franchise. You start to turn, and you're turned for good. It's a slow progression, but once it happens, it's over. But yeah, if you have sex with somebody before they go full wolf, you're going to get it too. And speaking of that guy and the drug dealer, they are both together in Final Destination 3. So I noticed both of them right away and was like, hey, both of these guys are in the same fucking movie. Not, maybe 5 years later or so. And like she's growing a tail throughout this, and there's constantly times where she like gets up, and Catherine Isabel's, gorgeous, and you get a lot of shots of her in her underwear, but then she has this like tail coming out of the bottom of her pants, and it looks like she has poop hanging out of her butt, and it's definitely not it's not a turn on when she gets up and shows her ass. I thought it was pretty funny. And makes two things to church. Oh yeah, so then Bridget goes and she meets this drug dealer guy who they kind of have some kind of romantic thing going on, sort of. And when Ginger tries to come on to him later, he's like, no, but your sister, because he's into the sister. And she tries to make him think that she's the one changing, because she doesn't want to expose her sister, because they are blood sisters. They are, in this together forever. And that's, their commitment to each other is, I feel like, what drives these films and what I do like about this franchise. I like siblings that are inseparable. And then I like that the dude who she turns through sex goes to school with with cuts and everything on his face and his dick, and his friends are like, whoa, what happened to you? And he's still like there to brag about the fact that he basically got raped. He got taken advantage of by this girl who strong-armed him. I mean, yes, he was willing to an extent, but she fucking beat the shit out of this guy. But he goes to school, and that's just it. That's the difference between guys and girls. He's going to go there and he's going to own up to like, yeah, even though I hated the experience, I'm still going to brag that I got a chick. Because that's half of what it is when you're a kid. Shit, that's half of what it is when you're even older than that. Is like landing the chick. Not so much if you even enjoyed it, but to just go to your friends and be like, yeah, I got her. Of course, you're trying to convince your friends that you had her and it was amazing. That, not only did you have the greatest experience of her life, but of course she did too. But in a lot of the instances, this just is not the case. In a lot of instances, it's just like, oh yeah, I got her. It was terrible for both of us, but I got her. Aren't I so cool? And there's one girls. Oh yeah, I've mentioned this on the channel, I think, a bunch at this point. I think I do in the Rage Carry 2. I probably talk about it pretty prominently, I would guess. But the whole thing, and this is pretty regular in almost any age group, but especially in the teenage years, the high school years. I would say most of it's in the high school years. But it's the whole, I want girls to give it up to me, but then if they do, I want to, or if I want girls to be slutty with me, but if they fuck with anybody else, they're sluts. And even if they fuck you, they're a slut. So you'll kind of like shame them even though they're giving you what you want. So it's like they're doing you a fucking favor. They're giving you something so wonderful, and then you're shaming them for it after you're basically begging for it. It's evil. It's fucked up. It's a double standard nonsense, and I hate it. Every single time I've ever encountered it, seen it in a movie, seen it in real life, it's like, wait, didn't you want her to fuck you? Yeah, but she's such a whore. Isn't that what you wanted? Like, what are you talking about, man? You can't have it both ways. You either want a girl to be a whore or you don't. So if you really think a girl's a whore, which I think is a really fucking stupid thing to say in general, but if that's your feelings on it, then you better not be fucking them. You better be somebody who really sticks to what you're preaching. Save yourself to marriage, or have very few partners in your life and only screw someone you're completely in love with them. But you can't be out there banging whores so you see them and then calling them whores. It doesn't work. It's not okay. Calling someone a whore is not really good anyway, but you know what I'm saying. It's just drives me fucking nuts. Then this guy goes to take a piss and he pisses blood. Oh, I would be screaming. And somehow they kill this. Well, I know how they kill her. This girl hits her head in a fight. But regardless, they store this girl in the freezer in the house. And then they come and check on her what seems to be very shortly after. And she is so frozen into the freezer that they have to like start chiseling her out and end up breaking off a couple of her fingers. What? Do you know how long it would take for her to be sitting into that thing and go to a deep freeze like that to where she would like crystallize and like stick to the walls of the freezer and all that shit? It would not happen overnight. It would not happen in an hour or two. I can assure you of that shit. So I thought that was really funny and stupid. And then the guidance counselor catches Ginger, and of course she ends up turning on him and killing him. Then they find the cure, which they use on the guy, and we find out in the second movie the cure didn't work, and I am only assuming logically that the werewolf that's coming after her, the male werewolf in the second film, has got to be the kid in this because she gave him the cure, but it's not really the cure, so he'd be out there, and he'd probably be pissed and wanting to come after her because he would have thought maybe she cured him, but then comes to find out that he changed anyway, so he'd be wanting vengeance. But we'll talk about it in the second film when I talk about that. I don't have a fuck ton to say about 2 or 3, to be completely honest. So we'll see how long those last. In fact, I might do them in one video. We'll see, because I don't have a lot to say. And then she kills the janitor because she's jealous of this guy. And then the mom wants to cover it up, burn down the house, leave the father behind because he'll blame her anyways, and run off with both of them. This is a dramatic change from the mom, something you would never see coming in a million fucking years, and I think that's pretty funny. And then they just ditch the mom with the drug dealer guy. Like, that seems kind of fucked up and doesn't really seem to fit with what she wants to do, because the mom was going to be in on it with them anyways, but I guess maybe she's just trying to save her mom from her sister, so maybe it makes sense, but it just kind of seems messed up. But maybe she's doing the right thing, I don't know. And then the werewolf, once she finally turns in, because like when she's transforming and she's got like the gray hair and her face is kind of more, I don't know, I don't really like it. And then the way the werewolf actually looks when it's fully formed, yet again, I don't know, maybe ish. It's okay. It's better than a dog, I can tell you that. It's better than just putting a dog on the screen. I would fucking lose it. I hate that shit. And then we find out that the cure doesn't work in the first film, so it wouldn't have really mattered. But they make it seem like maybe she stuck her with the needle, but nope, she stuck her with the knife. And doesn't seem very hard to kill a werewolf in the Ginger Snaps franchise. Just doesn't seem that hard to me. You just stab it with a butcher's knife in the side, and it just dies. It's just like any dog. It's like any animal. You stab it, in the right place, and it just dies. No silver bullets, no nothing. Just easy peasy. I mean, obviously it's a little harder than easy peasy, but you know what I mean. It doesn't seem to be that difficult. But yeah, overall, I'm kind of lukewarm on this one. I think it's got good characters in the main 2 girls. The performances are good. They're iconic. The rest of the characters are kind of throwaway to me, outside of maybe the mom, who's fairly interesting just because of her progression and change. But I don't know. There's just something about it. It feels very cheap to me. And I do like the Sisters Forever thing, and like the killing of the sister, and the sadness and just all of that, and how it's left kind of open where it's like, oh, obviously she's going to turn as well, which they play off in the second film. So I don't know. It's fine. I don't love it, and I'll get some hate for it, but we'll see how many people are with me. We'll see. Let me know, obviously. See you in the comments below.